Howdy, Wolfpack fans. Ramey here. Caught up with the skipper, Jake McKinley, yesterday before the Sacramento State game. Nevada won that game to sweep the regular season series from Sacramento State. So now Nevada turns their attention to San Diego State. The Aztecs coming to Reno for 3 starting Friday night. Nevada is part of a 3-way tie for first place in the Mountain West with 6 conference games remaining. Nevada controls their own destiny with a path to a regular season Mountain West championship. Here's the skipper. Nevada is headed to a midweek at Sacramento State, coming off a sweep of first place Fresno State at home, and now Nevada is tied for first place with 6 conference games remaining. That's exciting to say. It's exciting to hear. If I were a coach, I wouldn't even want to talk to my team right now. How are you dealing with all the success?
It's a good question. I think it's probably through the lens of a boring approach that we've talked about since the beginning, that every single game is like its own unique thing. And it's kind of what I touched on last week is, there's the reality that like this whole thing is going on and these guys know it, we know it. And I don't want to tell them not to think about that, but more so like lean into the reality of that. And with that being said, like what can you do today to give yourself the best chance for this to manifest and our goals to manifest? And that's really it. And I think one of the hardest things you can do in sports is like those things that are like sort of repetitive and sort of boring, sort of almost like mundane, is to continue to like beat those things in until they become habit. So hopefully, we're leaning on this habit. Like we really do just try to take things, 1 rep at a time.
Yeah, I guess that would be the ideal circumstance, is that it's a habit for you guys to wake up feeling like it's day one rather than you having to remind everybody. The vibes must be impeccable.
Vibes are good. The vibes are good. Obviously, when you win a couple games like that, like the walk off and then the comeback, it's really exciting. And it's hard to like tell them not to, again, like be excited about that. I wanted them in those moments to really enjoy those things, really enjoy those nights. But again, like just get back to the next day. We've got a game against Sacramento State today. We got a chance to sweep that series, which is exciting. That's a team that's really had our number since I've been the head coach here. So, it's good to see that progress. So we got to go try and win a game today at Sac State.
Yeah. Tell me about, the importance of this game, because the last time you guys played, we talked about how it is kind of a rivalry, like in the most kind of charitable spirit, but you guys, there's a history. What would it mean to sweep the season series from them?
Well, I think they swept us in 2023. They took 2 out of 3 from us, so I think it's just symbolic, I guess, that we've made some pretty good progress as a program, because Sac State they're a great team and they're a well-coached team. I believe they're in first place in their division. If they're not, they're second or third, but they're having a great year. So I think it's just, again, it's symbolic of the progress that we've made since day one here. And that's a credit to so many of those players that were here on day one. So I think it would be valuable. It's not the end all be all. We know that our conference games are the ones that are going to really dictate this thing. But I think Tuesday games sometimes get looked at as these totally non-important, who cares things, and that's not how we're going to approach this. Of course, we're going to like play some different guys and get a look at different things, but we're still going out there to win, and I think the team believes that too.
One reason you need to get different looks at different guys is you still are battling some injuries. I'm sorry to do this, but what's the update?
Yeah. So Quan and Billy Ham are both probably questionable for this weekend. So we'll obviously not use them tonight. And then
those are your 2 best hitters, Coach.
Yeah, 2 best hitters right there. So at least average wise. And we didn't have them this weekend either for the most part. And different guys stepped up. Guys like Mason Hirata, borderline think was like the MVP of the weekend.
Agree.
Yeah, so that's why you recruit. That's why you go get depth. Obviously, I would like to have Quan and Ham, and we'll do everything we can to get those guys healthy for the weekend. But if we don't have them, then you lean on your depth, and our depth has done a really good job in those pinches.
I was thinking about you guys won 5 conference games in a row, and I actually wrote about this in my column this week. Of those 5, you've got the 14-4 deficit wiped out win at Air Force, 17-15. You've got the walk-off piece, which was a comeback down 5-3 in the 6th. And then you've got the 4-run comeback in the 9th to win it in the 10th. I mean, if you get 3 of those in a season, it's pretty special. You've had 3 of those in the last 5 games. Is that just baseball? Is that just trusting the process?
I mean, yeah, that's baseball for sure. I think Skip Bertman said, sometimes things go your way and sometimes things don't go your way, and you just hope that things go your way at the right time. Um, I will say though, it does speak to the character of the group. When we were down by 4 in the 9th inning, I was hearing some of the chatter in the dugout, and they literally were saying like, "This is what we do. We got them right where we want them," and they believe that. It's not just like eyewash dugout chatter. I think they actually believe that that's real. Um, and I think if you believe it, then it kind of is real. So I think that's a reflection of the group. And I remember when we beat San Jose State game 3, so we avoided a sweep at
Yeah.
home. One thing I had said to the guys after was like, "Hey, listen, I just feel like it's in this group's DNA that we're kind of a come from behind group. So we're just going to do it in the standings too." Because I think at the time, I don't know, we were 3 or 4 out or whatever it was. So it's just kind of this group's DNA, I guess, is when they get behind or they get bumped or they get to some adversity. It's almost like they respond to it with such optimism and positivity and belief that they're going to overcome it.
I mean, clearly being down 4 in the 9th is not like the formula you want, but at the same time, you want that belief, you want that hope, because then it's actually possible. And sometimes it will happen. I mean, nobody would have been out of line being like, "Ah, all right, we took the first 2. Fresno State's the defending champs. Like, okay, they're going to get this one." But like maybe I was even doing that. And then you guys start scoring runs. I mean, it was remarkable. And again, just to have it happen in such quick sequence with these other comebacks, I agree it's about competitive character. What is it about a baseball team and belief like that? Because that you can kind of cultivate the soil for that, but you can't make that come alive. If coaches could, it would be a different sport.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things. I think one is they've done it before. You know what I mean? I think early in the season we had 2 pretty big comebacks against Northern Colorado in non-conference
Mhm.
games. We were at San Francisco down 3 in the bottom of the 9th. Mike Ball hits a grand slam. Um, we had wins early in the year like that, and I even was saying at the time like this isn't sustainable. You know what I mean? You can't always fall behind. And we've had some good wins where, we got out to a lead and we've maintained it. So I think one of the things about a winning team or a team that can compete for a championship, you got to win games a lot of different ways. You have to have the personnel to blow somebody out. You have to have the personnel to be able to come back. You have to be able to win 1-run games, which we won 2 of those over the weekend, and we won a 2-run game over the weekend. So teams that can play close games. But I think that the foundation of it is we kind of did it early in the year. So there's this, I guess, just memory of yourself doing it. And it's almost like it's one of those things where you believe that history can repeat itself. And I think that's the biggest piece right there.
Last one, and this is true for all sports, but I always find it to be a moderately cruel irony that by the time, and especially with successful teams, by the time you get to about this point in the year, you understand the team's makeup, their character, you kind of know who the stars are. You, and I'm sure this is true of you, but certainly for observers, you develop this intimate understanding of what this group is, what they can do, and then you realize there are 7 regular season games left, right? There's a scarcity now. And I talk about it on the broadcast. This is a special team. Teams, there's a finite amount of time in which a team is a thing instead of a memory. Does that creep in to how you guys understand it as you're going through it?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, you talked about it being a special team, and I think every team is special in its own way. Every team I've ever coached is special in its own way. I would say that this is the first team in a really long time, though, for me, where I would love to win a championship. I'd love to play as long as we can, but I actually think my biggest motivator to play as long as we can is because I just don't want it to end with this group. You know what I mean? Like, we have just such a unique makeup as a team. There's just so many things happening in college baseball right now where roster stability is, kind of a thing of the past, so like, I'm not ever going to be the person to, I guess, complain about the state of college baseball. It is what it is, but I know that I have finite number of days with this group, and that is saddening, but it is also motivating that, like, shoot, we want to play as long as we can because I just want this to last as long as we can. So I think that that's probably a pretty shared opinion amongst the group. It's a pretty shared opinion amongst the staff. I think everybody just wants this deal to go on as long as possible, more so because of, just the good people in the walls. And yeah, the championship potential, like, that's obviously gravy. That's a bonus, but we really want to extend this thing because of the human beings we have.
He's Jake McKinley. The Wolfpack 10 games over 500, a season high, 29-19, hosting San Diego State in Mountain West action. 6 o'clock first pitch on Friday. All 3 games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, will be simulcast on Nevada Sports Net. Join Zach Bash and me. And, of course, you can listen live on AM 630 Fox Sports Radio here in Reno and anywhere you get the internet, thevarsitynetwork.com and the Varsity Network app. So Nevada, in first place, controls its own destiny, heading down the stretch. San Diego State coming to town on Friday. We'll visit with you then. So long.